Hello and welcome to the Barrel Classic How-To series. Today I'm joined by Tony from Endura Sports Nutrition, and we're going to be talking about the importance that nutrition plays in endurance cycling. So Tony, what are the key considerations in terms of nutrition for riders undertaking the 160-kilometre race?
Okay, well the two most common issues that endurance cyclists will face will be dehydration and carbohydrate depletion. So both of those things lead to a dramatic reduction in performance output, and in the case of dehydration it also impacts quite severely on cognitive function.
So how can Endura help with these fueling issues?
So the sports drink that we're providing on the day is formulated to prevent both dehydration and carbohydrate depletion. So if we're looking at it in terms of carbohydrate, the hourly requirements vary anywhere between 60 grams and 90 grams per hour. And it's really important that you train on those products. The gut is adaptive, and the more you use a product, the more efficient it becomes at absorbing those nutrients. Then in terms of hydration, not quite so simple. The demands there will vary anywhere between 350 ml to over 1.5 litres an hour. So the only accurate way you can really get your head around measuring your demands would be to weigh yourself before and after exercise sessions, so that's training and racing conditions. And whatever you come in short, or however much weight you've lost, that's all fluid. So you need to be trying to come in pretty much close to even weight. You can afford to lose a little, but there's a simple stat there: 2% fluid loss equates to anywhere between 10 and 15% power loss.
So do the carbohydrate requirements differ between men and women?
No, so it's a good question, and it doesn't change even if you're 50 kilograms or over 110 kilograms. That does seem counterintuitive, but the limiting factor there is the absorption rate, or how quickly your intestine can release the carbohydrate through and into your bloodstream. So again, it's quite critical that you're training to meet those requirements. If you're overdoing it, it can lead to gastrointestinal discomfort, and if you're underdoing it, then your energy will drop away. You'll bonk.
Product-wise, what does that look like?
Okay, so there are a few different ways you can address it. The really simple way to look at it would be 3 gels an hour on top of the water that you take in. The better way to do it though would be to focus on a sports drink, which is giving you electrolyte as well, and then using the gels to top up the carbohydrate requirement. You can also take on carbohydrate in the form of bars. Endura has the performance bar that's formulated to provide that extra, not just carbohydrate, but the protein that you might require once you go past the 90-minute to hour mark.
So for the Barrel Classic, there's lots of different lengths of rides. There's everything from 25 kilometres to 160 kilometres. Is it better to use hydration drinks with or without carbohydrates? Okay,
so across those distances, yeah, with carbohydrate, absolutely. So there's no denying, even on the shorter events, having soluble blood sugar in your bloodstream is going to give you extra energy. And then the longer it goes, the more critical it becomes. So yeah, absolutely, and I guess the most critical thing for all those would be your hydration as well, just getting the right amounts of electrolytes in.
So tell me a bit about electrolytes.
Okay, so electrolytes, everybody knows the word, but most people couldn't really tell you what they are or what they do. So in simple terms, they're just minerals that have a pulling effect on water. So they reside in our muscle cells, and they attract water to draw it in there. So the analogy I like to use with electrolytes is they're very similar to the age-old remedy for a red wine stain. We spill red wine on carpet. What do? We put table salt on there. So that's sodium and chloride. They're two electrolytes. They lift up that fluid, and hopefully a lot of the colouring with it. So if you can imagine that in your body, unless you have good amounts of electrolytes stored in your cells, when you take on fluid, it's just going to run its way through to your bladder unless you have those electrolytes to pull it into your muscle cells. So that's the crux of effective hydration.
So thank you so much for your time today, Tony. You can see more of our Barrel Classic how-to videos on the website, barrelclassic.com.au, and there's also a link on there for Endura products.